welcome to another episode of the Ultimate AFL Show for season 2016. Now today I'm going to be looking back at round 13 before I put it in the archives and look towards round 14, the second of 3 bye rounds for this season. So, without further ado, let's get straight in to looking at round 13. Round 13 started at Etihad Stadium in Melbourne on Friday night between North Melbourne and Hawthorn, two teams who play games in Tasmania each and every year for the past few years now, but also they're teams who have created a bit of a rivalry in the last couple of years, especially last year with that game where it got pretty brutal. And this game, there was a bit of niggle, there was a bit of feeling, there was a bit of spot fires, and I quite enjoyed it. It was a very entertaining game. At quarter time, North Melbourne actually had the lead. They were, considering Hawthorn kicked the first goal, they were doing quite well after that and led 3-5 to 1-2. They had the lead at half-time, North Melbourne, 4-11 to 5-3. And it was very close at three-quarter time, 7-15 to 10-4. But North Melbourne couldn't quite hang on to the lead, and Hawthorn were able to take the chocolates. The final score being 11-18, 84 North Melbourne, defeated by Hawthorn, 14-9, 93. Credit to North Melbourne, they really did take it up to Hawthorn, and they were there. They could have won the match. Chances they really blew. They had 18 behinds in the match. And by halftime they had 11 behind, so they had a lot of chances which they really did miss, and that probably proved costly. And I think Bruce McAvaney called it beautifully during the match, saying it would come back to bite them, and it surely did, because they lost the match. And Hawthorn once again get through the line and win this one. So the goal kickers for North Melbourne, Thomas kicked 3 as well as Petrie, Wood kicked 2, while Brown, Harvey and Zeeble kicked singles each for the Kangaroos. The Hawks goal kicker Sisley kicked 5. He also was nominated the Rising Star for this week, round 13, and so he should be. He's been in the line for quite a long time now. Now he's finally come out of the line and got his chance. Rioli kicked 2, Hartung kicked 2 as well. You then had O'Brien, Bruce, Smith, Lewis and Palopolo kicking singles each in what was a very entertaining Friday night game. More entertaining than the week before, let's just say that. Over 37,000 attended the first game of round 13. Saturday there were 3 games, and it started at the Gabba between the Brisbane Lions and the West Coast Eagles. We know that the Eagles have lost the last 2 matches going in to this game, so they were hoping to get to the ground and get the chocolates and then come home and have the job done and dusted with the 4 points. And considering they were only a point in front at quarter time, they were able to do that. They led at half time 11-6 to 5-6, 14-11 to 7-8, and in the end they finished with a very comfortable lead. The Brisbane Lions 12-10, 82, defeated by the West Coast Eagles 20-11. 131. The goal kickers for the Lions, Walker kicked 4, Heaney and Skay kicked 2 each, Taylor, Robertson, Bastanak and also Hipwood kicking singles each for the Lions. We also have the Eagles goal kickers. Kennedy kicked 5. He had a really good day on the scoreboard, as he has been doing this season. Lacrasse, Darling kicked 4 each, Cripps kicked 2, Giles, Marston, Hill, Shuey and Yeo kicked singles each for the Eagles. So they'll be happy. They have got a win after a pretty poor last 2 weeks, let's just say that. And the Lions, well, we know where they're at. They're struggling this year. We know that. And all they can really do is come out and try their hardest. And, well, I thought they didn't do too bad in this game, but obviously the Eagles just far too strong. The twilight game of Saturday was at Domain Stadium. I guess you could say it was the Saturday afternoon game, considering the time in Perth. But anyway, enough about that. It was against Fremantle and Port Adelaide. And I had a feeling that this was going to be a really good game throughout the entire way. And it did turn out that way, 2-3 to 3-3 at quarter time, with Port Adelaide leading. Fremantle had a lead at half-time, 5-8 to 4-6. It was very close at three-quarter time, 11-9 Fremantle to Port Adelaide, 9-12. And Fremantle were able to hold the Port Adelaide Football Club off and basically kill Port Adelaide's chances of making finals this year. The final score: Fremantle 12-14, 86, defeated Port Adelaide 9-15, 69. You might remember that I did tip Fremantle last week, and it paid off. I was quite happy with myself about that, because we know how poor Fremantle have been this year, but this was their third win in a row for season 2016, their first back-to-back wins for this season. The goal kickers: Pavlich kicked 4 for Fremantle, Barlow got 2, Ballantyne, Taberner, Mainhill, Weller and Smith got singles each for the Dockers. Port Adelaide goal kickers: Wingard kicked 3, Westhoff kicked 2, Impey also kicked 2, and then you had Dixon and Ebert kicking singles each for the Power. So like I just mentioned, finals, you would think it would have to be done and dusted for the Power now. It's no possible way, I guess it is mathematically possible, but there's no possible way they can make the top 8, and they probably don't deserve it in my opinion anyway, because they just haven't played consistent football throughout the entire season. And Fremantle, well, they head to the MCG on Friday night to take on Collingwood. Can they get a 4th straight win? It would be remarkable if they could do that. Expected to be one of the games of the rounds, because it was in fact a top 4 clash. It was between the Western Bulldogs and Geelong at Etihad Stadium. We know the Western Bulldogs this season have been quite, and even last season have been quite dominant at the stadium that lives in Docklands in Melbourne. But Geelong came out in the first quarter and was just all over the top of the Western Bulldogs. The Western Bulldogs were turning it over, which was really proving costly. So at quarter time, the Dogs were down 0-5 to 5-3. Not a very good start by the Dogs. In fact, they didn't kick a goal in the first quarter. Their first goal actually came at the start of the second quarter, but Geelong kicked the next 5 goals and led at half-time 10-3 to 1-9. To the Dogs' credit, they actually came back in the third quarter and played really well and actually outscored the Cats, but the Cats still had a pretty comfortable lead, 11-4 to 5-12. I guess you couldn't say comfortable, but it was comfortable from a Geelong point of view. And then, even though the Dogs were kind of in it at three-quarter time, Geelong just took the game away from them and recorded a pretty convincing win. 16-4-100, defeated the Western Bulldogs 5-13-43, and what was a semi-disappointing loss for the Dogs, but considering where they're at this year and considering where they probably weren't expected to be last year, I think we can kind of dismiss that and say, okay, that was a poor loss, we can learn from that. And I'm sure Luke Beveridge will be ensuring his players that of what they did wrong, and obviously going through the review and telling them what they could learn from the game. It's all a learning process when you're a team like the Western Bulldogs, because they're still developing, sort of. Obviously, they're higher up the order now, and obviously they're not far off premiership success, but they've still got some hurdles to kind of face and get through before they get to that point, if that makes sense. So the goal kickers for the Dogs: Redpath, Wallace, Pickens, Suckling and John kick singles each for the Dogs, while the Geelong Cats goal kickers, Menzel and Hawkins kick 4, Selwood kick 2, as well as Motlop and Dangerfield. Caddy Murdoch kick singles each for the Cats. Over 41,000 attended this game at Etihad Stadium in what was a dominant display by the Geelong Cats. Sunday there were 2 matches to finish off week 1 of the bye rounds for season 2016. It began at the SCG in Sydney between the Sydney Swans and the Melbourne Demons. And this was played in pretty poor conditions because, well, I guess we've seen worse, but it poured throughout the entire match. The rain just didn't stop, and we know how the rain affects the game styles and play of the game and the standard of the game as well. So there was only 3 goals kicked in the first quarter, 2-6 to 1-1 with the Sydney Swans leading. Again, not many goals in the second quarter. The Sydney Swans had not the biggest lead, but I guess in a rainy and wet condition game, you'd have to say this was a pretty good lead, 4-8 to 2-3. And then the second half was really when the Swans opened the Melbourne Demons up and basically took the game away from them, 6-13 to 3-6 at three-quarter time. And then in the end, the Swans got the job done. They bounced back after a loss to the GWS Giants last week at Spotless, the final score being 12-14, 86, the Sydney Swans defeating the Melbourne Demons 4-7, 31. The goal kickers, Franklin kicked 4, Towers, McGlynn kicked 2 each, while Hewitt, Kennedy, Navakis and also Lloyd kicked singles each for the Swans. And the Melbourne goal kickers, Petrarca kicked 2, while Kent and Hogan kicked singles each for Melbourne. The final game of round 13 was at Etihad Stadium between Essendon and the GWS Giants. I think a lot of people expected this to be a one-sided affair considering the form of the Giants in the last month or so. We know that they are in the current top 6 of the ladder, but it was far from that actually. I think the GWS Giants kind of took Essendon a little bit lightly, but to Essendon's credit though, they were quite outstanding in this match. They gave 100% full effort and were unlucky to lose this. But let me go through the game. At quarter time, Essendon led 4-5 to 2-7. They had a pretty good lead at quarter time. They led by 2 goals at half time. The GWS Giants were in front at 3/4 time, 11-13 to 10-11. And then the GWS Giants were able to take the game away from the Bombers. But credit to the Bombers, like I said, the final score being Essendon 12-18-80. Defeated by the GWS Giants 17-15, 117. The goal kickers, Essendon's Van Tasia kicked 4, while Jamar kicked 2, as well as Brown, Leuenberger and Danaher. All those goal kickers having multiple goals in the match. That's quite outstanding. While for the GWS Giants, their goal kickers, we had Green kick 4, Kennedy kicked 3, Williams, Cameron kicked 2 each, while Griffin, Hopper, Kelly, Reid, Patton and Congilio kicking singles each for the Giants in front of just over 14,000 at Etihad Stadium. Now let me just go through. By the way, very big credit to Essendon. That second win is not far away. I can just feel it. But just this pick 1 business, by the way, it's been the talk of the town in the last couple of weeks, and I've decided to give my say. Number 1, they haven't even finished 18th yet. Yes, they're on the bottom of the ladder, but they haven't officially finished 18th yet. So let's just wait until after round 23 because you know, Brisbane Lions could finish bottom. There could be another team who could finish bottom. They haven't definitely finished bottom yet, and obviously coming up in round 18, Essendon and the Brisbane Lions at Etihad Stadium will be a crucial game to actually see who might finish in that bottom spot. I'll be going to that game, by the way. But and secondly, whoever finishes bottom of the ladder gets pick 1. Just because Essendon have suspended players and they've went through all that process doesn't mean they don't get pick 1. I believe just give it to them, give them pick 1, and move on. Simple as that. You know, we can't just change the rule just because they've got suspended players and so on, because you know, they've already been punished enough. They've already got their punishment, and they might even trade it. So just AFL, don't take pick 1 off Essendon. That's just my opinion. Okay, time now to finish off our round 13 review with the stats and also who's leading the stats and also the ladder. So I'll start with the stats, and I'll start with the leading goal kickers. Franklin still leads on 47. Kennedy did take the lead off him on Saturday, but he was able to get it back on Sunday, so he leads on 47, and then 1 goal behind him on second is Kennedy. Lynch from the Gold Coast Suns in third on 39. Jenkins on 37 in fourth, and then Eddie Betts in fifth on 33 goals. The leading disposals, Lockie Neal having a fantastic season for the Fremantle Dockers. He leads on 432 disposals. Dangerfield second on 406 disposals. He's coming though, that's the thing. Third is Dan Hannebury, 403 disposals. Hunter in fourth has just dropped a little bit on 398 disposals. And 368 disposals we have Adam Treloar in fifth. The leading marks, Heath Shaw currently leads the marks on 121. Second on 114 is Nick Riewoldt. From Carlton, we have 2 players in third, Sam Doherty on 96, and in fourth, Cade Simpson on 93, and then Jesse Hogan, the big forward player, on 92 marks. And then finally the tackles, Liam Shields leads the tackles on 102. We have Andrew Swallow in second on 100. 97 in third is Matt Prittis. Tom Mitchell from the Swans, 88 in fourth, and then Mark Blixarves in fifth with 87 tackles. Very close in the tackles there, and it could be mixed as the rounds go on. So that is the stats after round 13. Who's leading what? And then finally the ladder, the Geelong Cats, after that win against the Dogs, have taken the lead and top of the table. North Melbourne no longer, and they are first on 40 points. They're actually level with the Swans, North Melbourne and Hawthorn. So the whole top four are level, and it's just percentage separating them. Absolutely stunning. And as we get closer and closer to the end of the home and away season, that ladder is just going to shift, or that top 8 at least, is just going to shift and shift and shift, and it's all going to come down to percentage in my opinion. So Geelong top, the Swans second, North Melbourne third, then Hawthorn fourth. The GWS have taken fifth, the Western Bulldogs have fallen right to sixth, and they're both level on points there, the Giants and the Dogs. The West Coast Eagles 7th on 32, level with the Crows, with percentage separating them. But you'd think if the Crows win this week, they would go to 7th, of course, or possibly even they could even shift up the ladder. That's how close the top 8 is. You can see the bottom 4 there: Fremantle 15th, Gold Coast 14th, the Brisbane Lions 17th, and Essendon 18th. And just back on that debate there on Essendon before, you can see there the Brisbane Lions and Essendon actually level on points, and it's just percentage, close percentage separating them. So could be a crucial game in round 18 when they verse each other. Okay, time now to get into round 14. This is the second of 3 bye rounds for this year, of course, like I have already mentioned. And it starts on Thursday night this week. Yes, Thursday night football returns, and we see Thursday night football for the first time in season 2016. This is one of 4 Thursday night games being played this season, right up until round 17. And, well, it's Adelaide and North Melbourne kicking Thursday night football off. It's this Thursday night, of course, starting at 7:50 p.m. Australian Eastern Time. Of course, they met in round 1 of this season, and it was a very close win to North Melbourne, a very close game, in fact. And, well, this is going to be an interesting game because the Crows have won 10 of their past 11 games at the Adelaide Oval, and North Melbourne are yet to get a win at the new established ground in South Australia. So, going to be a massive game. I think on that note, because of that statistic, I'm going to go the Adelaide Crows. I kind of want to go North Melbourne because I feel like they played really well on Friday night and really took it up to the Hawks, but I'm just going to go the Crows. They were really good against the Eagles a couple of weeks ago. The bye has freshened them up, and they will be ready to get the win against North Melbourne, and this will probably rise them up the ladder, possibly to 6th or possibly even 5th, depending on their percentage. So, big game. The Crows is my tip. On Friday night at the MCG, Collingwood take on the Fremantle Dockers. Fremantle, of course, looking for their 4th straight win of season 2016. And Collingwood, of course, pretty poor in the end on Queen's birthday, has had a bye, and can now get stuck into the second half of the season. Now, an interesting statistic going into this game: Collingwood have won 6 of their 8 contests at the MCG against the Dockers, and the Fremantle Football Club have actually not beaten Collingwood at the MCG since 2006. So I think I'm going to go I think I'm going to go Collingwood, actually, because of that stats. Stats do mean something to me, but I do want to go Fremantle, though, because we know how bad Collingwood's form has been this season. We know that, you know, they had a good pre-season, but the home and away season has not been very great. But I think at home, I think Collingwood will get the win. And this game's starting at 7:50 p.m, as most Friday night games do. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be a very interesting Friday night match. Saturday, there are 3 games, and it starts at the MCG between the Tigers and the Lions. Going to be an interesting clash, this one. This one's starting at 1:40 p.m. I think I'm going to just stick with the Tigers for this one. I think they'll get the win at home. And, yeah, they're going to be winning for me. Of course, the Gold Coast Suns, however, did take it up to them a couple of weeks ago. So it could be close, actually. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is close. The twilight game is at Spotless Stadium. The Giants are back at home and they verse Carlton. Of course, Carlton a couple of weeks ago lost to St Kilda. I think they're going to lose their second straight. And the Giants will win this one. This game starting at 4:35 p.m. And then the Saturday night game is between the 2009 grand finalists. It is St Kilda and Geelong. The last time they met, it was a draw. So that was on a Saturday night last year. So might be an interesting clash, this one. Of course, St Kilda played very well against Carlton a couple of weeks ago. Got the win. So I don't know. I think that, you know, the way the Cats played last week against the Dogs, I think they might win pretty comfortably. So this game's starting at 7:25 p.m. on Saturday night. The final game of the round 14, is a standalone Sunday game at 3:20 p.m. at Launceston's Aurora Stadium in Tasmania. It is between Hawthorn and the Gold Coast Suns. Haven't decided if I'm going to this one yet. I might be going to this one. I'm not sure yet. I actually want to go because I'd like to check out the Hawks and how they're progressing. I haven't seen them since haven't seen them live since round 1 against Geelong. And the Gold Coast Suns, actually interested to see what's going wrong there this season. But of course, we saw them a couple of weeks ago and they really did take it up to Richmond. So I'm hoping that they can do the same here against the Hawks. But you'd think at Aurora Stadium the Hawks would be far too strong, possibly a 50-point margin, possibly even more. It could potentially be that, but if the Gold Coast Suns play well, give 100% effort, it might be reduced lower to that. So this game's starting at 3:20 p.m. at Aurora Stadium in Launceston. And like I said, I may go to this game. I do have to travel just 2 hours from Hobart to Launceston to get there. May do that, not sure yet. And then the buys this week, we have Essendon, Melbourne, Port Adelaide, the Sydney Swans, West Coast, and my team, the Western Bulldogs, all having a rest for the first time this season. So you won't see those clubs in action until next round, round 15. And that is it for this episode of the Ultimate AFL Show. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, then don't forget to press that thumbs up button down below. Don't forget to comment, share, and also subscribe for more episodes of this AFL show. And until next week's episode, I'm Jacob. Enjoy round 14. Bye for now.